that did the hardest thing in sales, at 0 to 1. They're figuring out something that the previous sales leader, this company couldn't do themselves. They tried and failed, and I had to figure it out. But often founders are just like, oh, my product's perfect. Everyone needs it. Everyone in the world needs it. I'm just too busy. I'm going to hire a salesperson. They're going to make $1 million. Some people assume that sellers are coin-operated machines. That if you just incentivize this behavior with money, this is the action you get. The most motivated sales team I've ever seen got 0 commission. Culture eats everything else for breakfast.
Welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Numbers with the new rebrand, speaking about everything from sales, marketing, performance, and as the name suggests, going beyond what just the numbers are saying. And today, we're lucky enough to have Ricky Pearl with us, one of Australia's foremost sales leaders, at least he looks like it on LinkedIn. Ricky, thanks for jumping up.
Thanks for having me and for validating all the effort the smart people put into my LinkedIn profile.
Yes, this definitely seems to be working. You seem to be getting a good reputation in the sales space, and obviously for good reason. You're good at what you do. So I guess to give some listeners and viewers context who might not know who you are, just give us a bit of a rundown on what you're doing with Pointer and who you're helping, how you're helping them at the moment.
Sure. I'll say the whole sub story that goes back to birth in South Africa and what I did as a 3-year-old. So of late, Pointer was originally an outsourced sales agency. We did a lot of good work helping hundreds of startups build their outbound operations. We figured out that companies would rather be doing a lot of this in-house, and for so many reasons, it is better in-house. So we shifted to supporting them build their teams in-house. That quickly grew to supporting them with their full go-to-market team or their full sales team, not just outbound reps. And that's what we've been doing. Our focus, though, has never been on just finding the right person. I think obviously it's important, but it's probably the least important. It's about how you enable your reps once they start in the role. And that's why for us, 95% of our effort is post-hire.
And I see that with a lot of clients as well. And, I having this chat the other day just around, I guess, when and how that process happens of like, how do I start bringing in a team, building internally? I guess what happened to give you guys that light bulb moment of we need to start helping these companies build internally versus just because, as you said, you're delivering great work, but what was the friction point that made you make that transition?
There's an internal friction and an external one. Let me start with the realization. The first thing is when people outsource to us, we were premium. We were the most expensive agency in Australia. We only hired local in country, the exact same work that you would want to hire. But the reason it wouldn't succeed in-house with you, and most of our clients had tried, was they didn't have that layer of management and that layer of strategic support and the ancillary support that the rep would need, copywriters, list builders, and all the other parts that go into the role. So what we'd say is you're not actually outsourcing your SDR when you come to an outsourced SDR agent. You're actually outsourcing the management and the enablement of that SDR. That's why this rep isn't working for you in-house. Because if you came to us as an outsourced agency or as a recruiter, we would go to market and find the same human being. That human being would just thrive and succeed under us when we were working on your behalf, but would fail when it went in-house. And so we learned it was just their management, strategy, all of those pieces that go with it, and their enablement that determined if the rep would succeed or fail.
That's really interesting. I feel like it's the same from outsourcing marketing as well, right? Where the sales and marketing also go hand in hand. You're not really necessarily outsourcing for the talent, so to speak. That's part of it, but you're outsourcing for the management of the talent. If you had a great in-house marketer to lead the strategy, lead the process and everything, then you could just build a team underneath them of executioners. Whereas when you go to, and I think at least on the marketing side, that's where a lot of companies go wrong, is they'll go to an agency just to hire for the execution side and miss that strategic, say, management layer, so that they're not guiding it. The agency is just doing, oh, we're running your ads, we're doing this for you, we're doing these things, it's what you're paying us to do. yeah, but I need to do the strategy. And then that, I guess, comes into the positioning of you being the most expensive, because it obviously costs a decent amount to get the good talent and to train and manage that good talent as well. Did you make the switch more from a business model perspective of going to hit a
Yeah,
ceiling here with this, or clients?
I think it was a circular business model on a few fronts. The first was the status quo was doing it in-house, and there's so many reasons to do it in-house. And ultimately, a business is always a couple of businesses in one. It's the product or the service you deliver, and then there's taking that product or service to market, your sales, and your revenue organization. There's huge benefits to doing it in-house, more benefits than outsourcing it. You're trying to figure out the formula. It's knowledge of the formula. It's that how to sell your own product that is essential in if your business is going to thrive or not. And the reason they came to us as an outsourced agency is we gave them the full tea. We integrated directly one-to-one with their CRMs. We met with them on a weekly basis. The reps joined their stand-ups. Like, this was, all intents and purposes, a hire that they had in-house. We just provided this perfect layer of management and support on top. Why we changed as a business model is when the SDR function, when outbound didn't work, we failed fast. And that was a huge benefit to most of our clients, because this would have taken them 12 months to figure out in-house. They would have hired the rep. The rep would have failed, and it would have been like, oh shit, maybe we just hired the wrong rep. So they hire another rep, and after 6 months, it's not going. It's like just there, not quite there. They don't really know. It's in that gray zone for, do you make a decision? Is it going to work or fail? Maybe it's the rep, maybe it's the manager. They don't have answers. Whereas with us, they came in 3 months. If we couldn't get outbound working, it couldn't be done. If Ricky and the pointed team cannot get outbound working, outbound is the wrong channel. We can cut it. So we failed fast, which was a gift to our clients. But when we succeeded, which luckily was the majority, after a year, I'm just making up a random time, but it was typically around that year, and be, Ricky, we've got some good news here. We've just raised our Series A or our Series B or whatever it is. Like, we couldn't have done this without you. You've been instrumental in helping us get there. Like, we're going to sing your praises from the hilltops. But we're hiring 5 SDRs and an SDR manager. We're moving in-house. Like, we're so excited. Like, things are just, this is awesome. I, as an agency owner, made 20% on the rep salary, more or less. Sometimes a bit more, but sometimes a bit less. We had some risk to it. But broadly, let's just say we made 20%. So I worked. I did the hardest thing in sales. At 0 to 1, they're figuring out something that the previous sales leader, this company, couldn't do themselves. They tried and failed. And I had to figure it out. So I had to do the hardest thing. And at the end of the year, make 20%. And then who else made 20%? The fucking recruiter hiring their 5 reps and their SDR manager. So that would make 6 times 20% on the back of my hard work. Well, I made 1 times 20% and had to work like a donkey for a year, every single day, succeeding, doing impossible tasks. And the recruiter comes along, puts a fucking ad on LinkedIn and makes 5 times more money. I was like, I'm in the wrong business. I'd rather just help them with that last, I'd rather just help them at the high end. So we said, well, that and the fact that in-house is the status quo. Let's just say 1% of companies were happy to outsource. We were fighting for that 1%, doing really well. We were a great agency and business was good, but I was still fighting over the 1%. 99% just want to do it in-house. So there's a bigger market and as profitable. So if I could solve the reason they wanted to outsource in the first place, then they can have the best of both. Why don't I help you by training your rep, by bringing all this expertise that we had in our agency and give that to you as part of the recruitment? Now there's no reason to outsource. Have it in-house with all the pros, with all the benefits of outsourcing.
Interesting. Yeah, I can see why you made the switch. It's quite attractive.
At the end of the year, I was like, when this dawned on me, right? You're so heads down as a business owner. We built up at one stage. I have 40 clients that were running simultaneously. That's 40 outbound operations that I'm running as the sales leader with hires in each of them. We've got a manager, we've got a trainer, we've got a team around us, sure. But I'm still ultimately responsible for that top level strategy of the difference between success or failure, where their in-house sales leader had previously failed. And that's just 40 meetings a week. I meet every one of my clients every week. Let's just go from meeting to meeting where you're on show trying to tell them the future more.
Justify it.
So it was really exhausting. And at the end of that, when you walk away with 20%, don't get me wrong, I'm very grateful. Every brick behind me has been paid for through the goodwill of my clients and us delivering well. But at the end of that, when I realized we could do better for our clients, give them better outcomes for cheaper, for less money because they're going in-house, by helping them with the recruitment and the training, I was like, I was a successful idiot. I had successfully built the wrong business. I was just kicking myself.
Hoorah.
It's like they say, like it's more comfortable crying in a BMW than on a bicycle. Don't feel bad for me. I was doing okay, but what an idiot. I built the wrong business.
So I'm assuming now the crowd you attract is probably quite different from the outsource. Like, are you typically now finding that they've already solved that A to B problem, this problem you used to solve of getting in, finding out if outbound works, and delivering it for them until they don't need you anymore? Do you still get those sort of clients come to you now that you're recruitment side? And
We definitely do, because of all the training and the enablement that we do. We're still able to support them through that 0 to 1, that figuring out, that finding the message market fits, and finding their outbound strategy. It isn't as hands-on. And so they need to have a certain layer of capability. Whereas, for example, we were list building. We had a team of 2 dedicated list builders. Now we will teach them how to list build. The profile of the rep you hire is slightly different. We get some of that. Our sweet spot though, and again, this is just business model more than anything, because founders hiring sales, there's 2 profiles that we work with essentially. People without that deep expertise within their sales organization. So a founder. If a sales hire is reporting to a founder, there's a gap. I don't care what you tell me, there is a gap. That seller could be doing better if they had a little bit of support. So lots of founders work with us. Our ideal client profile though is the sales leader that is just stretched too thin. So when they have a team of 10, 20, 30, and it used to be a sales leader would have 5 reports and then 7 direct reports, then 10 direct reports. We've got some clients where the sales leader has 17 direct reports. And that's where our true benefit is, because the hardest part for them, where they be spread the thinnest, is in mentoring, coaching, and enabling their team. So the training, and in recruiting, because there's a little bit of a revolving door, just natural attrition, even if they're doing well. Right. And those are the 2 things they spend the most of their time on. And those are the 2 problems that we help alleviate in a way that they're really comfortable with our support in helping them do it.
when, in your opinion now, obviously, and not an opinion, in your experience,
An opinion, mate.
when should opinion, experience, the 2 can tend to blur, but when should a company, if it's founder-led, or actually let's stick with founder-led for now, when should they be looking at building in-house? And then conversely, when should they do outsourcing and be like, yeah, I'm not ready for in-house, I should outsource? Or is there no case for that anymore?
Look, there are situations where outsourcing can still work really well. However, there aren't many agencies that will help give you the formula. When you have a high average contract value with a really strong value proposition with a very neatly defined ideal client profile, you absolutely can outsource. But what works better in the outsourcing is once you know all of that, and usually you need the reps to figure all of that out. Get an agency to try figure that out can be a very expensive exercise. And on top of it being an expensive exercise, you won't get all of the insights necessarily than if you did it in-house. A lot of the agencies, like our biggest competitor, the late Mark McInnes, good friend and competitor, he wouldn't even tell you who he called. Because I'll send you meetings, but I'm not telling you who I called, because I'm going to call them back in 6 months and get you another meeting, and that's worth $1,000. I'll sell you the meeting. You don't get the list. You don't get who said no and why they said. Whereas we were the opposite. So we used to say, if all you want are yeses, and that's all you care about, you just need messes, you just need the yeses, go speak to Mark. But if you want to know why people say no, come speak to us. You're not going to get the same thing from outsourced versus in-house. So in general, in-house is better. But founders need to push selling a lot further than they often currently do. And they're often trying to hire a seller to figure out the go-to-market. And that's a founder level role. You'll struggle to find the right seller to do that. And if you do, you should be giving up equity because of the risk they're taking on. So like that time to transition from founder-led sales is when you have a repeatable process, when you've gone beyond friends and network. There's ways to do that without giving up founder-led sales. You can hire a rep to sell alongside you. You can hire a sales rep with a fractional sales leader, because a sales leader can build that go-to-market, can help you bridge that gap from referrals, friends and network, to a traditional go-to-market, marketing, sales, outbound, whatever it might be. So fractional sales leaders can absolutely help you get there. The right founding account executive can help you get there. Nothing wrong with founders hiring SDRs to help them set up meetings so that they can stretch their time and how far they can go as a founder-led seller. But often founders are just like, oh, my product's perfect. Everyone needs it. Everyone in the world needs it. I'm just too busy. I'm going to hire a salesperson. They're going to make $1 million. They're going to be so rich. And then the seller gets in there, starts calling people, and they're like, no, not interested. Or no, they don't have that fit. And now you got a frustrated founder because they think they just hired a shit seller. Got a frustrated seller because they're selling a product that isn't right for the market that they're selling into. It's just an expensive exercise.
It's as you're going through this, I'm thinking, am I building the wrong business?
Well, you built a great business. What you did something so clever, like just the way you niched.
Yeah. Niching definitely helps. But I do also recognize it's like from a marketing standpoint as well. And there's so many facets to marketing. Like my vertical is mainly paid ads, and obviously because of my sales experience, being able to link that efficiently between the two. But at the same time, there's the limitations of first in-house versus outsourced. Obviously, you from a agency side, just spread across different clients. So it's not like you can be 40 hours a week, 100% focused into one client and helping their messaging, etc. But at the same time, building an in-house team can be quite costly from a marketing and sales standpoint.
I think part of the fundamentals of why we started originally with building the agency. And I got a brief literally just before jumping on with you from someone who needs they need a founding AE. They need them to be mid-level, but this person has to build a full go-to-market. So like actually the skills they need to build your full go-to-market, it's pretty senior, pretty executive. But then this person's walking into a no pipeline, no marketing budget. So they need to outbound their way through to building a pipeline. So I'm like, you need that senior and junior and everything all at once. It's that unicorn. More so, there's various skill sets that you need. You don't need a full-time, campaign, I don't know, CRO optimization experts. You don't need a full-time this, you don't need a full-time that. There's probably 10 things you don't need a full-time of, but you need all 10 skills to do it properly. Yeah. And to me, that's where the agency model makes so much sense from a marketing perspective. Whether you have an in-house marketing manager manage your agency, I think that's maybe where the debate is. They're trying to bring all of these, like we've got a Webflow website. So I'm not hiring a full-time Webflow expert. That would be ridiculous. But I also don't want my in-house marketer tinkering with Webflow when they're not a plugin expert either.
Yeah. Then you get the jack of all trades, master of none. And then rather than paying a full-time salary for someone to sit there and watch, like I knew a guy who did have a full-time, he wasn't paid a great salary, $55K, so a full-time salary. but his job took him no more than 90 minutes a day. And especially through COVID, he was, I did everything in the morning and then I didn't have anything to do for the rest of the day. When he was in the office, he would dick around and talk to people and do meetings and stuff.
Yeah.
But it was during COVID, yeah, 90 minutes a day, they were paying 65 grand. And that was him like stretching out that 90 minutes as well. I just need to look busy or like try and do something. So that, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, especially from a marketing side.
And I could also tell you as an agency, and you'll know this better than anyone, like we have to work our arse off. Every week when our clients rocked up to the meeting, they said, Ricky, where are the meetings? What's going on? What's happening here? What's happening there? Where can you do more? Like they would push us harder than they could push an employee. Yeah. I never had a client that was mean to us, but they also didn't have to put on lunches to entertain us and keep us motivated the same way they had to a staff member. Like they could rock up to the meeting and say, I'm paying you every month to deliver this outcome. Where's the bloody outcome? With staff, you can't. Yeah, even though it might be true, you take on a very different relationship. So there's so many benefits to the agency model, but alas, it wasn't for us. We found a much better way of helping the people that had the problem. And we're loving it. Like our companies and our clients are loving it. Like when they improve their average, their bell curve. At the moment, 80% of the business is being done by that top 20% in the company. And you have the middle tier centers, and then you have the bottom that the companies are thinking, maybe I'll just move them all. And we try and drag this middle forward, and the bottom, let's just cut that. Not necessarily worth trying to coach them up. Where we help them lift everyone up and then help them hire and help their top sellers level up even further, it's just so much better. They're getting increased retention because their reps are motivated for earning all of these certifications and doing well. They're getting mentored. So we're impacting their revenue in a more meaningful way. That's we're better off, they're better off, reps are better off, because also working at us, reps will come and join us because they wanted an incredible education. And you be an outbound rep at Pointer, you'll be recognized as being like a real top outbound rep and you'll go wherever you want. But we didn't have account executive roles for you to move into. We're an agency of SDRs. So they had to be as now we can attract the reps that want to progress within an individual company.
For that brief that came in earlier for founders or that are in that position of, I don't know when I should be hired, who I should hire, say with that brief that came through, what would your response to someone that's requesting that be like? Would you put it back onto the founder as, mate, you need to figure your shit out before hiring anyone? Or?
We won't take on a brief that doesn't make sense strategically. So one of the classic examples in sales is everyone only ever wants to hire a good sale. Well, they obviously only want a top 10%er. All right, but there's basically no unemployment in Australia at the moment. We have whatever percentage, but that includes every industry, checkout workers, includes largely unemployable people. If you're a top 1% salesperson or a top 5 or top 10%, there's no unemployment. You might be on the job market for a little while, but in general, everyone who wants a job can get a job. So now they're looking for one of these people. I say, how are you going to attract them out of their current job? They currently, even if this role, they're looking to pay $140,000 base with another $140,000 on target earnings. So president would walk home with, let's just say $280,000 if everything was on track. So now, tell me what your pipelines are like. No, cold, we've done nothing. Okay, great. Tell me what you can balance close. Oh, we're getting some deals. Okay. What's your average contract value? 15 grand. What's the target for this rep? They're going to sell about 10 MRR a month. So about 7 deals. So like, okay, so they're going to close 7 deals a month. To close 7 deals, they're going to, from outbound, you're going to have to book, 30 meetings. I said, well, what's your deal cycle? What's your average deal cycle length? They don't really know because they've only had inbound, they've only had friends and network. So I said, all right, we'll take your inbound one and double it because we're talking outbound here. So maybe 6 months. It's going to take this rep 2 to 3 months to ramp properly. Even if they ramp quicker, but let's just say 2, 3 months to ramp. And then 6 months till these deals really start closing. So for the first 9 months, they're not really achieving any revenue. So in their first year, they might only get $160,000. And they're killing themselves, killing themselves. And that won't be a very friendly environment when the revenue's only coming in 9 months.
And then someone's wanting to point the finger.
And now they're looking to attract someone out of a role where they're earning 280. Who's coming over to your role for 160? In fact, a rep who's on an 80K base, 80K on target earnings and doing well would potentially just be better off staying where they are. And then an 80K base, you're looking at a 140K base. 80K base is a junior seller. A 140K base is mid-level. Well, like someone who certainly knows how to do a bloody job. So you can't even necessarily attract a junior into this role, let alone they want someone, and this was their words. I've got it written down over here. Super experienced. Yeah.
Very descriptive.
Yeah. My point is you've got to get the role right. This is a good company with a great founding team, incredible investors, strong product in a hot market. It's going to be a great role. We just have to work on exactly what they're looking for to get the right fit. Make sure that they know what they're looking for. And this is where a company like that would, if they're looking to attract someone super senior, might be to find someone who's transitioning, moving from New Zealand over to Melbourne. Perfect. Maybe they're willing to sponsor someone who's on a working holiday visa and looking to immigrate here from the UK. Perfect. Because they're going to value all of these things. You can absolutely find someone at that super senior in this scenario. You might find someone who's passionate, just really want this, relapse the industry. You might find someone who's transitioning industries. But they also maybe should be open to someone one run down, a slightly more junior rep, and bring in some additional support for that individual. You could get a phenomenal fractional sales leader and a junior rep to do that job too. So there's lots of different ways that they can carve this. I think what's going to happen, and I'm glad they came to us because we're going to help solve this for them. But what was going to happen is they would have hired someone who fit the brief, who sounded good.
Yeah.
Hollywood sales is a skill. Lots of attributes and lots of skills. In your interview process, you can only really test for knowledge. And by this stage, all the sellers have the knowledge. And they all know how to sell themselves. And this is why 50% of reps don't work out. So they might as well take that $140,000 and just go stick it on black at the casino, because that has better odds than this person working out if they just go to market without really digging into the strategy of how we're going to find the exact right person for this.
I think that's what really separates what you guys do. And not to bash on other recruiters or anything, but I think traditionally a recruitment agency would just be like, cool, we got a brief, let's start hitting LinkedIn. We'll sell the dream to someone and yep, we've got this rep, we'll plug them in. Awesome. We got paid, move on. And obviously you can't do that because not only ethically, but you also handhold the rec through.
You get paid if this rep works out for 12 months. We get paid monthly over the course of a year. And if the rep leaves or you fire them, you stop paying us. And I can tell you now, if they stay less than 5 months, I'm not making any money on this. I've got my own operations to run here. Better than 20% margins, but I'm still this rep has to work out for it to make sense for me as a business. So our values are aligned in that sense. So this is a great example. This person also had another recruitment agency. So I said, honestly, I'm not nah. We don't have exclusivity in our contracts, but all of our clients only work with us exclusively. So here's the problem. If you go to your other recruiter now and say, we've got another agency on it, it's between the two of them, then two things are going to happen. firstly, their likelihood of a positive outcome goes down. Now it's at 50% likelihood of them achieving revenue. And which means the amount of effort that they can put into this hiring process has to be relative to the potential reward. If there was 10 recruitment agencies on the one role, then you've only got 1/10 of a likelihood of a positive outcome. Get into some of the stats. If this role's worth 20 grand, you've got a lot, your expected outcome is $2,000. Now, I know that's not the case. It's either going to be 20 grand or zero, but you can only really put in 2 grand's worth of effort. So you can't go all out. The second issue is recruitment agencies, and people need to know this. I don't care what they're telling you, recruitment agencies coach and polish your reps. Unequivocal. I hear it from their mouths. I know it. It's a fact. They coach them pre-hire. So what's going to happen now if you competing? I've put this rep forward. Other agencies have put their reps forward. I need my rep to sound better than their reps. I got to coach this rep. And now you're getting a fake candidate. They're not a fake candidate, but they know they're being briefed and what to say, how to say it, what you're looking for, because I know exactly what the client's looking for. If I was to coach a rep, you'd hire them 9 times out of 10. We're the exact opposites. We do zero coaching. In fact, we have all these little catches within our hiring process that if people don't tick that box, they're out of our process. And we'll never tell them what that box is. I'll tell you one. Multi-threading. Sellers know how to multi-thread. You'll never just put in an RFP and send it off. Like terrible sellers. So candidates are not reaching out to myself, can someone else in our recruitment team, are likely to get a job. If they go, we'll tell our clients at the end of this meeting, if this rep doesn't set next steps and try to close the meeting, disqualify them, don't hire them. I won't tell the rep, hey, make sure you close out the meeting. Make sure you ask for next steps. Could easily coach the rep that. But I'd rather this company not hire that rep.
Yeah. At the end of the day, if you were coaching them through it, incentive alignment it's just misaligned between what the company wants and what you want.
Hey, make no mistake, when you use an agency, there is a conflict when you use a recruitment agency. The recruitment agency is motivated to both polish the company to the candidates and the candidates to the company. That is the financial incentive. Now, maybe they're going to tell you they're morally this, they're morally that, they're ethically this. Well, you know what they say in every crime drama you've ever watched? Follow the money. Yeah.
And would you say the structure and the reason that you built out that month-to-month model, the training, et cetera, is to reverse that incentive structure and get more in line with what the company truly needs versus just what Pointer needs?
Yeah,
Was that not
100%. We just want to align with our clients. I think that's like absolutely imperative. But we've got our other beliefs, right? I didn't believe that there was any value, as much value in what the recruiters are doing. Like we may just finding you someone that's no more or less likely to succeed than if you found them yourself. What are you paying for? If you're paying money, you've got to be paying for better outcomes. And that's just not what they're getting.
I saw that a lot when I was in the agency world. They were a big agency, but behind the scenes, I just saw a lot of that. We'll just call it misalignment. Misalignment between what the client needed and what the company wanted, such as 12-month lock-in contracts, commissions based on ad spend. So let's make the performance that little bit worse, so we have to spend more to get the same results, so we get a better commission. All that sort of shady stuff.
So much of that, right? And we see misalignment with sales reps with their compensation packages in their companies. This isn't exclusive to agencies, right? We've seen deals rep sandbag deals to go into different quarters because it impacts their commission. Like we've seen a whole lot of stuff. As soon as you incentivize people financially, they will start acting however it best serves their interests. So we wanted to align our interests. you're not looking, when you go to a recruitment agency and you say, hey, I want you to hire me a rep. You don't actually want them to hire you a rep. You don't actually need someone to put an ad up on LinkedIn for you. What you want is a rep that's going to succeed in the role. And the thought that finding the right person is what will do that is flawed. And I think maybe the best, and maybe this isn't the best, but it's very similar to a relationship, right? If you just found the right person and then put no effort in afterwards into maintaining that relationship, into making that successful, like it's not going to work. Yes, you got to start with the right person, but arguably starting with the slightly lesser person and putting in more effort, you're still going to have a stronger relationship. We want, but you have to do the right things after. There can't be conflicts. There's both with the agency, but we also got to help them with their compensation models. Often companies are coming saying, how should we do this? Maybe more on the founder side. But again, my ideal client is the founder. We do a lot of them. So I've got this concept. You might like this, Sam. I've got this concept called the easy client profile and the ideal client profile. Founders are my easy client profile. It is obvious that the value and the service and the way we are structured benefits founders the most. They do not have the expertise necessarily to teach someone how to cold call, to teach someone how to do thorough discoveries, how to negotiate, how to handle objections, how to do better deal management or pipeline management or forecasting. They need us to teach their that. But then there's our ideal client profile, the sales leader, who knows how to do all of that, but it's just stretched so thin that the last time they gave their account managers or their CSM team a lesson in discovery training, or their customer support on how to handle objections, all of these skills that they have that they could impart on the rest of their team, they just haven't done because they head down in closing the revenue that's been forecasted and making sure the big deals close and come through, and hiring and firing. The middle of the pack and all of like the alignment with marketing and supporting the CSM team and all of the upsell, they're just not getting to any of that. So when we come and say, hey, we'll train all 30 people on your team, all of them for $2,000 a month, and then we'll recruit your reps for you if you want at 9% a year. Not just 9% a year, 0.075% a month for 12 months. And if the rep doesn't work out, struck heights. The sales user are like, this is what I need. This is exactly what I need because you're able to take some of the load off of my shoulders, the job that I have to do, as opposed to I can hire another AE. I can hire another this, but that doesn't help me do much. And I can't get another me because that's this kind of money. So that's our ideal client, but we still service our easy client.
That's a great example of structuring an offer for the buyer, so to speak, right? Because the way you articulated that then of this is exactly what they need, this is why they need it, this is the issues that they're facing, and then we just come in and plug that versus just I've got this thing I want to sell and I'm going to just, as you was alluding to before, with trying to find the message to market fit, the go-to-market motion, just shoving that product onto people, knowing who you serve, how you serve them, and aligning to their expectations as well. You touched on a point before that I think there's generally a lot of controversy online around like aligning reps to the right outcomes as well. And that goes all the way from marketing through to sales to CS and having all three of those departments. But if we just speak about the sales side, because obviously that's where you focus as a vertical.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you've got thoughts on the other sides as well.
Right, I love support and marketing. Just don't get me started.
Marketing deserves a bashing most of the time. We can go there if you
No.
way. And but with the reps, what is your general recommendation to companies when they are building out their incentive structure and their alignment structure to keep reps on target and on task? Because there's been people that have said the month-to-month model obviously has issues, and they're because sandbagging and different approaches like that, people pushing deals through and not necessarily aligning for the buyer. But then if you just go open, the fear is how they're going to be incentivized and won't be motivated, etc. What have you found being the best sort of structure for whether it's a founder or a sales leader, to incentivize and keep reps motivated?
There's a lot of different options here, and different elements that influence these options. If your sales cycle and your deal value, your retention rate, there's lots to consider here. So I can't just give universal advice. But I think the goal here is it should align with your customers first, your business objectives, and then the management and the rep. We had a rep who was still on their run last year, and as of December 31st, their ramp would have been ending. But whilst they were on their ramp, if this deal closed, they would have gotten an additional $40,000 in revenue, in commission from this deal. Big deal, enterprise client. If it closed on the 2nd of January, they wouldn't have made that $40,000 because their target would have been much higher, and they wouldn't have hit their accelerator. So 2 days worth of a deal closing is $40,000 to this individual rep, which is a lot of money. Makes fuck all difference to that client if they signed on the 29th of December or the 1st of January. Like, what's the difference? You know what? It made fuck all difference to that company as well, whether you got it in this month or that month, unless you're particularly over a reporting period for your financials and you're like a listed company, which this is not. So it made no difference to anyone, but this rep, yes, worked hard to get this deal closed in time. But if this rep wasn't being monitored very closely, they would have thrown discounts. They would have thrown incentives. They would have thrown the kitchen sink at it that wasn't in the company's interest to get the deal closed. Right? That rep could have just offered a 50% discount if you signed today. Right? Wouldn't have helped the company. They shouldn't have done that. And they didn't, luckily. But this is just a small example. So in general, the longer your time period, commission over a year is more accurate, more fair, and more honest than commission over a week or a month. But management and the payout and your short-term validation gratification from the action is blown out if it's over a year versus over a week or a month. So there's a balance to be had. My preference is quarterly. That's how sailors work. There's a lot of good reasons for it. We work in quarters. There's enough time that if you stick for 4 days, it makes no difference to a quarter. If you're sick for 4 days in a month, that's 25% of your month gone. How do you make up 25%? If you can make up 25%, the target's wrong, right? Like you shouldn't be able to make up 25%. Something's off. For a rep to be sick for 4 days, what are you going to do? So quarterly generally works best. There's a lot less to manage. And broadly, you only have to start worrying towards the end of the quarter on things like sandbagging, etc. But then there's other parts to it, like accelerators. If you have accelerators with uncapped commission, not just uncapped, but accelerators, they're more eager to bring it forward. So if I get the deal to close this month, I get into 110% of my targets. Anything over target, I get 15% as opposed to only 10%. Never get it. Over a certain point, I get 20% as opposed to only 10%. So I really want to try to bring it together and bring it in sooner. There are lots of things that you can do. And we've got a whole lot of stuff on this. We're like, these are the different structures. These are the strategies. These are the pros. These are the cons. Here's the spreadsheets and templates that you can use to do whatever's right.
Yeah. It's one of those problems that it's like there's not a one size fits all solution that just maps it out. Everyone should do this. It's obviously customized to every company and the experiences that they're going through. What are your thoughts on if we go to that entire go-to-market motion of marketing through to sales through to CS? Do you think sales should be either comped or penalized in regards to retention and CS performance? Because obviously if a seller just says whatever they need to sell to get a deal through and chucks it to CS, then CS gets pissed off at that. Same as marketing get pissed off. They all get pissed off at each other if someone's doing the wrong thing, so to speak. But how do you go about solving that CS to sales alignment?
This is where you need good leaders, right? You can close bad deals that are more likely to churn. And that then hits your AE, gets their targets, and your customer success team misses their target because they're having high churn. And as an account executive, there is potential to close that. Similar with discounts. I can discount deals, and that impacts retention rates significantly. It impacts close rates. You need leaders that are aligned with the vision of the business and the main mission to be able to do this. Also depends on your structure. Who's responsible for upsell, resell, cross-sell? Like in smaller organizations where you don't have the depth of skill, when you've got your bow tie and so you might go from your customer success, trying to picture this, here's this bow tie, here's the back end of your bow tie. You might go from customer success back to account executives to go through the sales cycle again for the upsells or for the cross-sell. Just renewals might stay here. As your organization gets bigger, you might have an account management team, and the upsells and cross-sells and resells can be handled effectively. Or maybe just the upsells are account manager and cross-sell goes back to account executive. So you can start building that out. But broadly, in most models, account executives are compensated on closed one. If you're signing multi-year deals, you can give them 50% of year 2 commission and 25% of year 3 commission paid out now for multi-year deals. There's ways to comp multi-year deals. Some, like Terry at Chat Metrics has a really interesting model, which I love, where he gives his reps a book of business. So you give them a small percentage of all of these, of this book of business, provided you've contributed that month or that quarter, that period. If you've met your contribution criteria, then you get your commission from your book of business that you've built out. So you still benefit. He never has to adjust base because their base naturally climbs the longer these people are selling in their business. There's a risk though of them just getting fat and lazy and saying, "Oh, I'll just live off my base. I don't need to sell anymore." And so you only get access to your book of business once you've hit your contribution criteria. So many ways to do it. And I think ultimately this is about leadership and people seeing that you are in a recurring revenue business model. 90% of your revenue happens after closed one.
Because that was going to be my follow-up question, actually, when you could see the opportunity for sales to fulfill some sort of CS role. And because the reason I ask is more from a selfish perspective, as I'm looking to steadily build this company out and grow and start to look at, okay, how to build this into aligned incentive team that's aligned with not only the customers, but internally as well. And one of the ideas I had was sales or whatever term you'd want to call them, strategists, everyone throws it, salespeople. Could I not only incentivize them on putting deals closed there and have KPIs benched against that, but also remunerate them based on the book of business they hold? Say they hold 10, 20 clients that are paying K a month, 5K a month, whatever, they get a percentage of that book, and that's their commission as opposed to closed one. What are your thoughts on that sort of structure, and that where could you see that working?
Like, very different for service businesses. Our expertise is built more around SAT and tech sales.
Yeah.
I think models like that can all work. I think giving reps ownership works. You've always just got to look at what's the catch, right? What is the catch? Where do incentives start misaligning? And what we don't want, and I want to always, where possible, try align people at the highest possible level. So let's just say you needed to hire a new rep, you needed a new account manager, and you're struggling to hire an account manager because you'd have to hire them on day one, they get no book of business. And now it's limiting the capabilities of someone that you can hire. And so rather what you need to do is give them 5 clients of this reps, other reps 20, and say, hey, you start with these 5 and then you build from there. That might be what you want to do, but now you can't. Your hands are tied unless you keep compensating the previous rep for their book of business. So typically, I think the benefit of being an owner is you only have to pay for new. You only have to pay for more. So your increase in net revenue retention can be compensated. You could do a kicker. Hey, if you keep all the clients you have, you get a little kicker, but it's actually your fucking job. That's what the base is for. You want extra money, increase what these clients are paying, and I'll give you a huge portion of that. Like the base is to do your job. Your commission is for what you bring in extra.
Yeah. Would you ever see a use case like that on the SaaS side for your type of clients, or when it's a low product or low ticket software, it doesn't really
Listen,
work?
there absolutely is. There's lots of full cycle sellers. Like project sales, you bring in a client, you help them. That project has a 9-month rollout. You do the work, you're done. And then that same client says, oh, and I've got another site. We're also building over there. Help us over here. And that client becomes like your client that you manage. You're just constantly helping them across multiple different sites. Think of a real estate agent. You help sell this person's house, sold, their transactions concluded. You maintain a relationship with that person however you want to, however you can. When they have their next property, they work with you again and you get new revenue. So it doesn't necessarily have to just be recurring revenue. There's also project sales. There's so many different models that you've just got to be able to really empathize with how are people going to fucking wreck this model? What's wrong with it? How are they going to abuse it? Where is it misaligned? What happens if I want to do this? Can I do it? What happens if I want to do that? Can I do it? Where am I tying my hands behind my back? Or is this just giving them ownership of their and autonomy over how much and how hard they earn and how quickly they can earn? And will this change performance? And this is where I think a lot of people get wrong. Some people assume that sellers are coin operated machines, that if you just incentivize this behavior with money, this is the action you get. And it's funny because the people saying this are not on commission. They're engineer. They're like, granted, all founders are ultimately 100% commission, or business owners are in some sense, but they maybe haven't come from that world. Commission motivates some people just a hell of a lot less than you might think. A commission model is more around shared risk, saying, you got to pay me less than I'm worth. And I'm going to share in some of the risk in your business. But for that, I want an increase in disproportionate return, i.e. commission. And so I'll earn more than your marketing manager. And I'll earn more than your customer success team. And I'll earn more than your engineers necessarily, relative to the skill and pay grade, because I'm sharing in the risk.
Yeah.
But that commission does not mean I'm going to necessarily work harder. It motivates some. But the most motivated sales team I've ever seen got zero commission. Culture eats everything else for breakfast. And how you're motivating your team and how you're incentivizing them and how you're aligning them and how you rewarding them, how you're holding them accountable, those things matter more. The pay structure is just high level alignment on the broad strokes.
And as we start to come to a close from a time perspective, just to give the reps or potential reps that might listen to this some insights and thoughts as well, as I know that was a big thing for me. There was one company, doesn't look good on my resume, but I was only there for 6 months. Because even though performance-wise, everything was fine, first month broke company record, second month doubled it, everything was looking good. But by month 3, the clients from month 1 started coming back to me, and because I built relationships with the client, and that's generally how I've sold, and I maintain those relationships. By month 3, the clients from month 1 were coming back to me being like, hey, what's going on? Your team hadn't delivered on deadlines. It's not this, it's a blah, blah, blah. So I'm going back chasing team up, and then I'm getting disciplined for getting involved in things that I should get involved in. Then month 4, month 2 clients were coming back. So then it just became like this shit show where I just lost all confidence in the company delivering on what the company promised rather than continue selling.
One of the most reasons for sellers to me is the company failing to deliver on what they being told to promise. And then this is more about a misalignment with their values and their morals. They're able to fall on their sword. It's be like, I offer you my name and my reputation. And whilst I try disassociate myself from the rejection of the no's when doing deals, I can do that because I don't care about the people that are rejecting me. But then it gets harder as you get further down the sales cycle because you're being told to build a relationship. You're being told to build trust and build this rapport. And so they trust you. And then they bought something because they trusted you. And then when they don't deliver, it feels terrible for you. And you don't want to do that. You don't want to feel shit. You don't want to feel like a used car salesman that lied to people. And you didn't lie because you told them the truth in good faith. Just it landed up being a lie, not because it was your fault or anything other than that. And you'll not be in that position where you're willing to laugh. You'll leave. Even if it were to double, I bet you would have left.
Yeah, and that's when, as you were saying, like money isn't the core driver of motivating. At that point, you could have paid me anything. I just don't feel good about doing this.
Point out when we were doing outsourced, we had the most incredible retention of SDR. What incredible. And we just paid what else? Yeah, maybe in some cases a little bit below. But the reps all knew, because we had discussed with them, like, look at your lifetime earning potential. When you go to university, you're not getting money, but it's meant to increase the amount of money you'll earn for the rest of your life, helping you get better jobs. They were all willing to earn less because they were learning more. There's so much that you can do to educate staff. And again, part of why our training model, we think, helps companies so much, because we have reps choose our jobs over another job that is arguably better. So say, I just want to work with you guys. I know that at the end of this year, after 2 years of this, I will be able to finally maybe make that kind of money. Whereas this is a good job, I'll get capped again. I just want to work with you guys. Training is one of the most motivating things I've seen when done right. Progression. That's all we try to do in life. All of us. We're just trying to progress.
So there's a two-pronged closing thought. For companies that are looking for reps, how can they be more attractive? And for reps, what sort of traits and attributes should they be looking for in companies to know that this is the right fit for me?
Yeah, I think there's lots on the rep side. There's lots of research you can do. What percentage of the reps are on targets? Who's hitting their quotas? What's the average retention like? There's a lot that you can look into for the company. If you're going into working with the founder, then you should have some proper questions to ask, right? Is their product market fit? I think even as a great seller, even as the best seller, I'd rather be an average seller selling a great product in a great market territory, the great market, than the best seller selling like a product that isn't as desirable. From most of the people that you're learning from that have gone from strength to strength, and now there are all these big gurus teaching you how to do stuff, like they sold Zoom during the pandemic.
Yeah.
It's great. It wouldn't be a stage that selling Zoom was very hard, but there's the right market and the right product at the right time. When you can catch on to that, you will absolutely be far more successful. And you can go to Salesforce and get a great territory and crush it. You can go to Salesforce and get a bad region and get their small, medium business department and struggle, like all hell. So there's a lot of nuance that goes into it. I'd say jump into like the tech sales ANZ community. Right. People will tell you what's happening. Nothing's going to bullshit you there. You're going to figure out what's going on. And if you're looking to hire reps, get out, talk to us, talk to someone else, position the role right. Understand your strengths and weaknesses as a business, and understand the nuances of both the attributes and the skills that you're looking for. Because there are people that want that job. You just got to know exactly what that is. And unless you're an expert in hiring salespeople, it is nuanced. There's hiring someone who's done enterprise sales and getting them into small, medium business. I've got this great cartoon of the scene number one is the co-pilots. You see this plane going down? And then the next scene is the co-pilots. You just see their face shouting at the pilot saying, I thought you said you could fly. And then it goes to the last scene and the picture of a duck in the pilot seat. Right. And to me, this was just the perfect analogy for startups because yes, they could fly. Yeah. They just couldn't fly 747. And startup setters, and that 0 to 1 is different to the 1 to 5, is different from that 5 to 10 or 10 to 30, and so you go. The right seller in the right market, the right role at the right time. Stop focusing on industry knowledge, because that can be taught. There's sometimes it can't, like there's times it's important. Finding that right fit for what you need. So key, and if you deeply understand salespeople, you know all the jobs to be done by a seller. And if you put me in an outbound role, like I'm a gun, I'm an absolute gun on the phone at cold calling, I'd fail in that job. I'd absolutely fail in an outbound role because I can do it. I have the skills, I have the knowledge, I have the attribute, the skills. I lack the attributes to do outbound all day. Right? Like, I don't have that.
Especially today.
And so I would fail. But if you interviewed me, you'd hire me
Yeah.
because I would crush it. Like, make me make a phone call like when I'm coaching. People are like, wow, Ricky, how do you do that? I go, can't do that all day. I can't do that all day. I'd go, boy, I hate my life. I can't do that. I'll create problems. I need strategic challenges. I need 12, 18-month sales cycles. I just need a whole lot of different things because those are flaws or attributes in my personality. So when you know those nuances, you'll find the perfect person. And they're always out there.
I think reflecting on like, not that I'm a sales guru or anything of that sort of matter, but I can definitely see that like the first gig I had that was super high volume that we've chatted about before, 50 meetings a week, 80% show rate KPI, just intense. But at the time, it was the role that I needed because I didn't know what I was doing. It was just high volume reps practice. Then the next role was great timing, good product or good offer, good product, and made a lot of money. Not because I'm a superstar seller, but I just got lucky, landed in the right role, the right time, with the right offer. But then if you try to get me to go back to the first role, no chance, because I don't have it in me anymore to want to sit there and do 100, 200 calls a day. Even the second role, I don't really want to sit there and sell all day either. I want to be focused on, similar to yourself, strategic problems, high level problem, creative things as
So
well.
that's the
And
problem. If you were worried about your mortgage, genuinely worried about your mortgage, you could do either of those roles. And so you go apply for them because your wife's pressuring, you've got a kid, school fees aren't, no fucking joke, kinder fees certainly aren't. You'd go do one of those jobs. You feel like you need to, whether it's as a man, as a person, as a provider, you'd be like, I need to go do one of these. And you'd interview and you'd crush those interviews. It would be so good. And you'd be like, look how good this person is. And as soon as you found your feet and as soon as you're in there, you go, right, I'm stable, I'm safe. Okay, I'm the together. Let me keep looking for something better. And then you churn.
yeah,
But I see this every day. And there's just so much that goes into finding those great fits. And like, that's part of what we're here for. Both finding them and then enabling them, training them, supporting them, keeping reps engaged and happy and capable. Because I bet you're good at a cold call. But if I made you right now on the spot, haven't done it in however many years, go do a cold call, you'd be a bit rusty. By the end of the day, you'd be on form again. Just practicing things helps keep it sharp. And just like daily meditation or gratitude journaling or something like that helps you think about the important things in your life, which makes you more appreciative or more feel the gratitude, which makes you happier. The same way when you have constant sales enablement and sales training, just reminding you to be a better seller, just reminding you to ask more questions. That selling is about asking the right question, not giving the right answer. Just reminding you of those things maybe helps you perform better that day or the next 2 days. So when you have this constant enablement going on and you're constantly talking about professional sales attributes and all of these things, you just keep doing it. So much to it. But as you said, I could talk about these things all day, every day.
yeah, just a high performance athlete. I don't keep up the tennis too much anymore, but Roger Federer was my guy back in younger and who I followed, and arguably one of the greatest players of all time. Still had a coach, and I know for me, whenever I would, especially when I was selling for a founder, if I was regularly speaking to that founder and I would send them recordings. They'd be like, oh, maybe say this here, do this here. And just like all those little tidbits and stuff like that. Just even if I knew 80% of it, or I might have even been at one stage, I was out closing what the founder was closing when he was in sales in that second role. But that also didn't mean I just closed my ears to what he had to say, because even just him picking up on something and, oh, maybe try this, maybe try that. Did you call the leads? Like just those little touch points really, I think, make a difference for sellers. And I think that's something that you guys really go not only above and beyond, but obviously you built a great business and offer and structure around it. We are a touch over time, so I don't want to chew up your entire afternoon. For anyone that's looking to recruit, build an effective sales team, get in touch with Pointer, or just follow your journey, get more advice and insights from your experience, where are the best places to find you?
So if you are a seller, particularly in tech sales or interested in tech sales, go to rep.pointerstrategy.com and you can join our tech sales ANZ community. If you are a sales leader, jump in there anyway, because there's a whole lot of sellers in there. If you're a founder, you're not welcome. No, they just reach out to me. But yeah, our focus is really on the training and the recruitments, like in equal parts. And depending on our client, depends on which one of those they need more or less. And we have lots of clients that are just training, no recruitment. We won't take on any clients that are just recruitment, no training.
Awesome. And LinkedIn, I would recommend as well.
Yeah, LinkedIn. I'm a salesperson. Our phone number's on my LinkedIn profile. Phone me. I'd take cold calls for fun, just to see if there's something new out there that I can learn from. I get so many great clients, but phone, email, WhatsApp, SMS, go to my website, LinkedIn. Like, I'm a bloody business owner. Like, you're got to make it easy to get hold of me.
Yeah, 100%. Mate, I appreciate having you on for a bit over an hour, so a bit over time.
Good luck in the post edits. I know these long videos hard to cut. You got to rely on some of that AI these days.
Yeah, I've got an AI editor, so I'll see how good that does. So then,
if it doesn't,
it'll be a work.
Maybe you can put on some fine tuning, help spruce me up a bit.
Yeah, don't worry, it'll come out clear. I'll overlay some of those filters of the ones where on Canva they can make the face look prettier or something.
Yeah, give me one of them.
Add some shine and sheen.
Yeah, except some of this balding going on over here as well, if you don't mind. Whilst we're going AR, go all out.
Yeah, I'll add myself a full hairdo as well.
What it is now, when people are watching this and they see me, they might be like, "Fuck, this is the post AI upgrade." This
is AI Ricky, not real Ricky.
Yeah, mate. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. I'm sure we'll do it again sometime. We'll catch up regularly anyway, so I'll chat to you at the next one, and we'll maybe do this in reverse or some other time in the future.
100%.